Hey everybody, welcome back to Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slowbeef. With me, of course, my good friend Devious Vacuum.
Hey, it's me.
Pohoko.
Good evening.
Turbo C.
Howdy.
Jim. Will be joining shortly.
This is Joe.
Perfect.
Yeah, you got him. You got his number.
Got him.
We don't need him at all anymore.
Welcome to the Jim Roasting Podcast.
Oh man.
Much like the Mono Kids, every subsequent episode of the class trial episodes, one of us will be killed. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
By the end of it, it'll
Sorry.
just be Slowbeef.
Sorry to Jim's family and friends.
That's what happens when you don't get along.
Whoa, what the
Pohoko
I mean-
mono down. It's true. And look, this is very important that we know who's who in this situation. We already know Turbo's Monotaro. Slowbeef is Monokuma.
What is going on here in the good old Chapter 2 trial?
Well, did we already do investigation?
Nope, it's
Yeah, we still have to go over that.
Alright, we can run through an investigation real quick, I think.
Yeah, investigation takes a little longer this time. It's not just in one room, there's actually multiple.
It starts with Kaito being like, Shuichi, you're my sidekick for this investigation. And
Kaito
he's
is
like,
great.
like very transparently trying to like make Shuichi feel like there aren't as many consequences for him like revealing the truth, etc., so that he won't get so anxious about it. Which is really sweet, even though Shuichi knows exactly what he's trying to do. It's still really sweet.
Yeah.
And they get the Monokuma file. What does it say in there? Or what does it not say?
Well,
It does not say the time of death,
That's right.
which Shuichi immediately intuits that's important then.
yeah, I think they
crucial
mentioned
to the
some
case.
kind of thing where Monokuma will never give evidence that would outright prove anyone 100% guilty.
Which is weird because this actually doesn't do that.
No. I don't really... This kind of makes me dislike the Monokuma file in general, because then I feel like there's too much information it's giving you, because, yeah, now the lack of information is itself a clue.
Yeah, and like maybe if your crime is undone by people knowing what time it happened, then you didn't do a good planning crime. Maybe
Yeah.
you should have planned your crime better.
Do a better crime.
It's
The
like
crime
if
of loving
you
your
left a
friends
big-
too much.
if you left a big sign next to the body saying, "Hey, I did it," would it not be in the file? Would Monokuma just move it?
I mean, my thing is just that, like, if you know, and I don't know how this is going to play out, but if the murderer, you know, did something to obfuscate the time to get away from it with it, then Monokuma just kind of screwed them over, in a way. So I'm just saying, like, either they should have asked more questions, or Monokuma needs to shut the fuck up and be like, this person's dead, that's all I'm giving you, sorry.
A lot of these bears need to shut the fuck up, just like in general.
Yes. Oh god, I gotta remember that for the episode title.
A lot of these bears.
You can't put fuck in your YouTube episode title. You'll get your monetization rescinded.
That's why I did these ads whole bears last time.
Exactly.
Oh shit! I thought that was just like a typo.
Oh wait, I see why Jim's late. He's playing Danganronpa V3.
Yeah.
in the fucking...
Yeah, he said he was finishing it up.
Oh. Sure.
Dun,
So you
dun,
can
dun.
shame him.
We're gonna get the hottest take possible from our pal Jim. Hot off the presses.
Fuck, what did I say the name of this title was? don't talk to these fucking bears or something.
All
These
these
bears
bears
need to shut up.
shut the fuck up.
Thank you, okay.
Okay, so the cause of death is also drowning, not piranhas. So that already implies that, or that tells us that the piranhas eating him, he was already dead before he was eaten by the piranhas.
Yeah. To be totally fair, though, I think the fact that he was handcuffed was kind of a good clue for that.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, just I guess like to just go back over exactly what happens. Like Himiko does the magic trick. The piranhas drop into the tank. Himiko appears. They pull the curtain back. Ryouma's in the tank. His body gets eaten by piranhas. They break the tank with Kibo, with Kibo's whole body. And then and they clean it up, and then they start the investigation. So yeah, you look around the stage. I mean, there's handcuffs. You see that he was handcuffed. There's a bunch of scrapes on the handcuffs. The big important thing in the tank was that there's like a glass pane that's not broken. That is the lid of the piranha tank, and the piranha tank is only glass on one side, the front side, and the rest of it is wood. And how do we want to like exactly talk about this? Do we want to talk about just like the whole thing all together? Like,
well, if they're reading along with us, they should already know what's going on. So
yeah. So So there it is. So the killer could hide Ryouma's body in the piranha cage.
So if you're not following along with us, what happened was they put the basically the killer put the top of the glass in the tank, basically as a barrier to make all the piranhas come to the front, and because you're basically squishing all the piranhas into half the space, they basically form a visual barrier with which to hide Ryouma's corpse on the other side.
I had to step away for 1 second. Did we already discuss where do you get piranhas?
They were in Himiko's lab, right? Like, all this stuff was in Himiko's magician lab.
Okay, I was just curious.
Also, Himiko, up until, like, halfway through the trial, is still like, it's magic, I'm a mage. Like, and she's not. It's a magic trick, like a stage magic trick. What the fuck?
Yeah, no. I'm gonna guess, too, without knowing, that the the optional lie you could tell is probably to convince everyone that it is magic.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, there's like,
That'd be hilarious.
there's like blue text that floats across sometimes that you can either agree or disagree with. And I don't know what the hell got up Kokichi's butt, but he was really rude to Miyu.
Oh my god.
At one point, he calls her like a sow, and she's like, "I'm not a sow," and like the word sow is in blue, so it's like, are you supposed to like refute that and be like, "Yeah, you are a sow. You're a big fat
No, if it's
ugly
blue,
sow."
that means you agree with it.
Great, yeah. No, you are a sow.
Yeah, he calls Miyu a bunch of really awful names.
Oh yeah, like
And,
really creative ones too.
But like only like it's also like on the same level of the language that Miyu uses. So I wasn't really sure where he was going with that. Maybe like with Kokichi, it's like, because it's like, was he like genuinely annoyed with her, or was he trying to get something out of her? I think Kokichi is like revealing more and more like that sometimes he's trying to do things, or maybe always he thinks that he is always trying to do things for the benefit of the group.
Sometimes.
I don't know if he thinks that.
I legitimately think he does.
I'm not saying... I'm actually not disagreeing with you per se. I'm saying I genuinely am not sure. Because Kokichi strikes me as someone who would do things more for himself, but maybe is also that arrogant, like, I know what's best for everyone and it's this kind of thing.
Because when he talks about it like, oh, this is fun, this makes it more fun, like, I don't know where he's going with that. But other stuff, he'll, like, cause people to fight because he seems to think that is the best way to advance through the game.
I wonder...
I mean,
I wonder what he really is.
Let's be honest. He lies a lot, but he's not a good liar. Like, he will admit 9 times out of 10 after he says something that, oh yeah, that was a lie. So
yeah, he's kind of like Miyu in that way. As soon as you confront him, he'll back down.
Yeah, whose fault is it really if they keep falling for it?
But like that also means to me he can't really be, and I'm sorry if we've discussed this before, but like he can't really be a supreme evil leader then.
Yeah, what is he really?
He's a liar.
Yeah, because he sets it up like, and also as we start to learn more and more about the ultimate hunt and like hear them, it's like if he was really the leader of an evil organization, like he would be the leader of the ultimate hunt. What other one is there? I don't know, it's just been in the back of my mind of like, what is going on? But we also know that at the end of the chapter that not everybody is what they say they are anyway.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that they would not get back to basics, but not have every case be this like tragic thing where it's like they're trying to do the best thing for everyone, and it's like a bittersweet thing. I was hoping for at least a few where it's just somebody being an asshole.
Yeah, I don't know if this is someone. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Kirumi's motive for this is mediocre.
Whoa,
her
Kurumi.
execution of the murder was interesting for sure. The whole I mean we go around. You go around to the. I thought it was a cool reveal because can you go? I don't know if you can go into the back part of Ryuma's lab.
You
can. You cannot.
You can.
You can?
Well, I mean, during the investigation, you do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
before this, so it's a reveal during the investigation that the locker room in the back of Ryoma's lab is the ultimate prisoner lab.
Right. So does he have
which
like
is
two
really
ultimate
fucked
titles
up
then?
to remind him that he
Yeah.
doesn't have anything to go back to except jail.
Ryoma's a good character.
Yeah, he is. He turned out to have a lot more depth than I thought that he would. Even though
I mean, I feel like
we don't get
maybe,
to learn that much about him.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we're getting a little bit ahead, just to kind of cover the basics of what happens. Ryouma was in the tank. He was put there by Kurumi to kind of implicate Himiko, and the barrier was there to keep the piranhas from eating him. I actually thought that because they kind of say that the piranha tank looked a lot more jammed than it was. And
Yeah, and
the whole glass pane thing didn't really occur to me because I guess I kind of figured that if the piranha tank was really full and you just shoved a body in there, the piranhas wouldn't have room to swim around. So
and eat it.
yeah, so they there might be a couple that nibble on it, but they couldn't swim to eat him.
So, I thought the glass pane was going to be part of the magic trick.
Yeah, it's a trapdoor or something
was-
that they go under.
Yeah.
And there was a trapdoor, just not at that spot.
No. I'm sorry I stepped away again, but we talked about how the magic trick really works.
Oh no,
Yes.
we can talk about that.
Oh, yeah,
the
we
whole
should.
process, yeah.
The
We skipped around
Himiko's
a little
magic
bit.
trick.
Yeah.
So, Himiko's magic trick was basically there is a small hidden compartment where the stairs leading up to the tank is, and you can slip into the under the stairs, and then there's a doorway in the stairs that is obstructed. That's how Himiko's magic trick. She still will. She actually doesn't even. She just admits that that's how the trick is done, but she didn't actually say that she did that.
She maintains
right.
that she still did it with magic. She's like,
Yeah.
yes, there is that way out, but I didn't.
Here's the thing
Yeah.
that was biting at me the whole time, where she's just insisting, no, that's magic. It's not a trick. It's magic. It's magic. Why didn't anybody say, okay, well then tell us how the magic works?
Right?
Yeah, it's just like
what's the spell?
It's
What
a
do you
murder.
I mean, she could fire back, well, it's magic. I can't explain. It's just magic. But you could have, tried.
It's a murder trial, though.
Yeah, it's okay to break the fucking magician's code. Somebody died.
Not if you're the ultimate magician.
Yeah, not if you're the... I mean, a regular
I don't-
magician doesn't reveal their tricks. I guess the ultimate one, super, wouldn't reveal their tricks.
My opinion of Himiko as a character, I think, lessened a little bit over the course of this because she's just sort of one-dimensionally petulant and I don't know. There was a little bit more. It was she became more interesting with her relationship with Angie and her being oh, I'm not so anxious that I can't go to sleep at night. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot.
Mhm.
Let's get more into that. But this was just it's magic over and over and over.
I do like how Angie pretty much immediately turned on her, though.
I really thought it
love
was going to
that.
be Angie, and then
Me
they even
too.
bring it up, and they're like, "Oh, the killer is also here and trying to take us off track." Because
Yeah.
they end up basically working backwards from the body discovery to the murder scene, versus where you would probably want to do it the other way, actually. And
Right.
And Angie kept saying stuff that distracted everyone, so I was like, "Oh, is it going to be her? Was this it?" And so. Yeah.
Right, and it seems like it makes the most sense because Angie sort of orchestrated this and suggested the piranha,
Yeah.
and yeah, like you said before, kind of brainwashed Tamika. I get that they're kind of doing that as a twist, but it kind of makes more sense that Angie did it,
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I feel like there's always going to be one red herring in the trial.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I get that, and I'm saying like it's a fine twist on paper. I think had it been a different actual culprit, or maybe there had been maybe a little more to that backstory where you go, oh, Angie's a red herring. This is just a little more like, I don't know. Again, we kind of talked about this before the podcast, but like I didn't love who it was. Like, it didn't seem totally appropriate for this particular chapter, except for the fact that they all have the motive of I want to get out, you know?
And also, just, like, between Angie and Kirumi, it's, like, they're two different, like, it's just a choice between, like, sort of underdeveloped characters, like, that are just kind of one note, and, like, we're waiting for the additional complexity on that character. Like, so any of them could have gone, because they're not as fully developed as some of the more central characters. Although I feel like Kaito was also signaled as, like, oh, could it be him? Because he didn't have an alibi, and then there was that aside during the last session that, oh, I shouldn't have trusted anyone, and there's that whole, like, man, game, are you gonna break Shuichi's heart twice in a row?
There were a couple things I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe, because there's this point in the trial where Kaito's like, you be the, introduction and I'll be the main act, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Is Kaito gonna reveal that he just did all this to help Shuichi get stronger again?
Yeah. But Kaito doesn't ever have anything. Kaito doesn't ever have anything. He's just as like, this is all about me, but here I'm gonna let my sidekick do it for me. He's just trying to help so much. It's funny.
I mean, if his sidekick can do that, just think about how great he would be if he actually ever said anything.
This is an official hunch from Kaito Momota, Luminary of the Stars.
I like him. He's kind of growing on me. He's got that really cheesy kind of superhero vibe.
Yeah. And everybody calls him an idiot. And now that's just like his nickname is the idiot.
Right. To the point where he says, could you please stop calling me an idiot? It's really hurting my feelings.
I know. Kaito.
Kaito kind of rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
So,
it's funny how he's so at odds with Kokichi all the time, and like how they just do not understand each other at all. And I actually really like that element of the character interaction. How both of them feel like sometimes both of them are sometimes trying to do things for the benefit of the group, but they're so like they will never understand each other's methodologies, and I thought that was really interesting. It was a neat
some of the character interactions are really good. Some of them not so much. I'm not really a fan of whatever they're trying to do between Tenko and Himiko.
Yeah, Tenko's like inappropriate crush. Although it was more during the trial, it wasn't as creepy. It was much more like, I'm gonna believe in her and support her.
Yeah.
So that was better. It wasn't like, here, let me touch you even though you don't want to be touched.
So, we didn't mention yet how Ryouma actually died.
Tell us the story.
So, Ryouma was drowned in the prisoner lab. He was handcuffed and then held under the water in his sink. And that basically drowned him. Then the body had to be transported to the gym, which was another really big mystery that had to be solved through many games. We found in the pool a
inner tube and then
an inner tube.
Black piece of fabric.
And a black piece of fabric. Yeah. I thought Kirumi made a tire swing.
That would have been rad.
Uh-huh.
No, apparently, and this was probably the most annoying Hangman's gambit that ever happened.
Yeah.
It was...
Oh, right, the word ropeway. The common word ropeway.
Yeah. So I was a bit annoyed at that.
Hangman's Gambit is a bad game.
It is, but it's not the worst.
Do we want to take a moment and talk about the minigames?
Can we? Because Trial 2 introduces 2 other minigames. To be totally fair, they were in the demo, but one is called Mind Mine, and I've been preparing to say this, I don't mind mine. Wait, I don't mind mine. Whatever.
It's like almost
mind
not
it.
a game. It's just like reveal the picture, which is pretty easy if you even just like randomly clicking around.
Yeah, it's not like terrible. So the idea is there's a bunch of blocks and they're all different colors like white, pink, and yellow. And hitting a block will cycle the color. Like white will become pink, will become yellow, will become white again. And do that to all the adjacent blocks of the same color. The notion being that if you think about it and you look at it, you can get groups of them at a time and combo it. But if you leave little like single ones, you have to like hit them like 3 or 4 times to break them if there's like nothing surrounding
time.
them. And you lose time, right?
I wonder what the casino version of this will be.
So, like, the idea is that, if the item Shuichi's trying to think of is the inner tube, you break these blocks, there's some pictures behind it. If you find the inner tube, hit Y on that, you win!
I like how it's kind of like a
mine.
highlights puzzle, where it's like the inner tube is in there, but then there's
It's
shit
very
like a...
highlights.
Yeah, there's shit like a rubber duck or an upside down ladder. It's like, what's not right here?
Yeah, it's good.
And
I mean, it's alright. Like, in terms of, like, entertainment, it's, like, not super entertaining, but it's also not offensive.
so let's talk about Psyche Taxi.
Psych
You mean
Taxi
the best
is
game?
Psych Taxi is great.
Psyche Taxi is garbage.
Let's get ready to play some Psyche Taxi.
Frankly, I see no contradictions in these statements.
Yeah, Psyche Taxi's pretty...
I love fucking thinking time. Oh my god. I wish that came up like in my life whenever I had a problem.
Psyche Taxi is kind of like Outrun-ish, or Rad Racer, like an old 2D racer type of thing. It is 3D, but I mean the controls.
It reminds me of a Dreamcast game. It just has
Ooh,
that
yeah.
kind of look.
Because it's kind of shit, but it's like very aesthetic. Yes.
Yeah, so Psyche
I
Taxi...
am pretty sure it's meant to be a Crazy Taxi reference with the name, too.
Of course. So, oh, yeah, totally. You drive down the street, there's other cars you have to avoid and things like that, and there's little word bubbles. As you hit them, they form a question, like, what was the killer trying to build? And when you collect all the questions, your car is brought to the center, and you get thinking time. And you have to take, like, left, middle, or right, and there's, like, a multiple choice question that multiple choice answers that answer the right question. It's kind of funny. If you get it right, the way it works, is that, like, you get in the left, middle, or right lane, and there's, like a silhouette of a woman there, and if you're
hit
wrong,
her with your car.
You hit her with your car, and there's, like, blood that splatters on the camera, and you lose a heart.
Also, on normal difficulty, there's only 2 answer options, so it's even more like, are you kidding?
But if you get it right, you hit her, your car like kind of comes to a stop like you hit her, but she like flips up and lands in your car.
Yeah.
So
And you get cool.
She says good and kisses the screen.
Yeah.
It's a good game. Is what
It is
saying.
great.
It's an excellent
I
game.
enjoy it. I also really enjoy the music for it, because they're saying, like, drive through the air or something. There's some, like, English in it that doesn't...
Yeah.
sort of makes sense, but not entirely.
One thing that I had really expected it to not just be, like, free controls. Like, I thought it would be one of those where, like, you hit left and it jumps over, like, one lane back and forth, but it's not. It's like you can just go wherever. You just can like.
Can you go
jump
off the road?
I gotta say-
over.
You cannot go off the road. There are barriers.
Mhm.
But I'm actually really this is one of the things I really like about Danganronpa is they actually put a lot of programming into like a stupid little minigame. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot, especially compared
it's-
to like fucking Hangman's Gambit.
and like the what was it, the stupid one that you can't actually beat, the I want to be the guy one. Like, they programmed that one.
Yeah. Death
The
Row
one that
Despair.
under... Yeah, Death Row Despair. They programmed that one, that platformer that you're never going to win, just for
Just as a joke.
ambiance, really.
Yeah.
I do like that when they decide to do something, they go all in and just do it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, nothing is really that half-assed, but, like, I still say that they would have been better off just having more confidence in non-stop debate and mass debate panic, you know, and closing argument. Like, I really like non-stop debate. I think it's, like, a smart kind of way of doing that, and I wouldn't mind doing more of it. Maybe with the occasional multiple choice thing broken up like they do. I just, like, that's like when I see, like, Psyche Taxi and Mind Mine, I'm almost like, it almost feels like they didn't have enough confidence in it, or...
Well, Psyche Taxi isn't even that different from a game that was in Danganronpa 2, where you,
No, that's true.
You, like, surfboarded in your own mind.
Oh my
Psyche
God.
surfboard.
It's like... But sometimes, too, I'm just kind of like, alright, I just want to get on with the trial now. You know, like, I want to find out what's happening, and, like, Psyche Taxi takes a few minutes, and it's like...
I kind of like it. It gives me a little bit of break from, like, having to concentrate, like, what bullets do I need? Alright.
But it's just, I don't know, it's like, what did the killer sleep on when they went to sleep?
Yeah,
And
if the
like,
questions were
time.
more relevant, I think, because it's hard. They're like very simple questions, and even the mind question was like a very simple question.
It's
which
like, have
probably
you
why
been
it felt
paying
like
attention
a
at
highlights
all?
thing. So it felt a little bit like padding for length because it's not a difficult question.
Jim, you just got here. We're talking about Psyche Taxi. We're kind of jumping all over the investigation and the trial. There's,
Sure.
you know, just like... So by now, the listener already knows who's killed Ryouma, and we haven't gotten into Ropeway yet, but
We
we've gotten
haven't
into the magic
even
trick.
gotten into why yet.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into why.
I think it's time to talk about that ropeway.
I think, no, but Psyche Taxi, what, do you like it or you hate it?
It just seemed pointless.
Thank you. Yes, okay.
Like there was like, you know, I don't know. Maybe like, was it different on hard? Because it certainly wasn't
No.
hard at all on regular.
No, it's you get 3 lanes to choose from instead of 2 for
What
thinking time.
what has been the hardest like minigame related thing that we've had to do so far?
For me, I'd say non-stop debate in the variants.
Yeah, I think
No,
the hardest
I'm wrong.
thing has been like one shot that I've had to make during nonstop debate, and it was like in trial 2 it was like 1 that gave me trouble, and in trial 1 there was 1 that gave me trouble, and when that happens it is so frustrating because you start to doubt if you have the right answer or not, and it's like, but what else could it be? Is it trying to be more complicated than this?
I had a few where I was like, I swear I already tried that, but now it's correct this time. Okay.
I have to retract my answer. Argument armament is the hardest one.
Am I wrong when I think that this round's argument armament just kind of pulled new shit without telling you?
Yeah, because they do a thing now where you have to, like, push the button and hold it, like, before you just hit it when the circle, like, gets complete and on the beat, but now you gotta hit it, and then some of them you have to hold it while this other, like, little inner ring fills. I hate argument.
Yeah, you have to
I just
press
can't
it at the
stand
right
it.
time, and then you have to release it at the right time, too.
Yeah, it really suffers from, I guess, I don't know, we were, like, orenronen, I think, was talking about it in our Discord chat, like, that there's not the same kind of timing issues in the console version, and this is probably because of the PC port that the timing is awkward.
So I was
That's a
talking to my girlfriend who is playing it on the PlayStation 4. She's having sort of the same issue as I was, so I'm not sure.
Might
Maybe.
also be, it was a PSP, I think, Vita game.
Yeah, it was a
first,
Vita
right?
first.
Who
That
knows?
was-
I mean,
Like, there's nothing worse when you're playing a rhythm game, and even if it's just a little bit, if it's off, it sucks.
Yeah, and like I keep trying to time it to the claps and it does not work.
No.
I'm just like, I gotta go visual because otherwise I'm not gonna get it.
It's also the thing that if you're playing any sort of rhythm game on, like, any sort of HD thing, you're supposed to do, like, a visual audio sync, and you didn't
There's
didn't
no
have us do that.
calibration. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's very well that, you know, everyone has a different setup than all of us, and that's why it was easy on his, and I don't know.
So,
Did you know that emulated games tend to do rhythm games like all wrong? I didn't really know this.
they
Until I went
do.
to play
Like,
Mario 3,
if
but
you try
yeah.
to emulate a game that has any kind of rhythm elements, you need, like, super special setups for it, because for whatever reason, rhythm stuff, it just doesn't work on an emulator.
I can get into why, but maybe we should save that for another time. That's a huge
But-
derail. But yeah, that is you're absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna
right
bring up
about
Parappa, but I think Parappa was always broken anyway.
Yeah, Parappa was just bullshit no matter what.
Yeah.
But
Before we move on from the minigames, I'll agree with you, Hangman's Gambit sucks. Psyche Taxi, I've got a soft spot for because of how aesthetic it is. The argument armaments, I will say I don't particularly care for it, but I do like that you get character art and they look like JRPG bosses. I
don't like that she ends up.
She ends up
in
like
her sexy underwear at the end. That was like I was like, oh, I finally fucking did it, and then it's like, oh, also here's like a sexy anime lady. Cool, thanks, great.
Yeah, it
I
feels
feel
like
great
a
about
Flash game.
myself.
For that.
I kind of screwed up last week, actually, or two podcasts ago, because I said about Kaede, you know, like, and you kind of like knock her clothes off, and I fucked up and realized I meant Kurumi, because I was a little ahead, you know, but, so...
Well, I mean, you still do...
Yeah, but she
I
doesn't.
think you
still
do
kind
it.
of do, actually, but
not
Kurumi,
the same
it's,
way.
like, super, yeah.
Yeah, Kurumi just ends up in her bra and panties, and it's like, ugh.
It's super, you know, it's super hot. I mean, it's super perverted, yeah.
Well, it's so funny,
But,
because these are like a bunch of high school kids, but they also have all been given black lace lingerie to wear under their uniforms. Like, yeah, of course. Like you do.
That was our school uniform, to be fair. But-
Speaking of mistakes that were mentioned, I mentioned last time that I did all of Kurumi's social links. I realized that was wrong because in my notes I said I was going to do that, but I ran across Kokichi first while I was looking for Kurumi. So I did all of Kokichi's social links, so I don't have Kurumi's to talk about, unfortunately.
Oh, and another fuck up from last week too, Jim. I think you did Ryouma's, right?
Yes.
And we didn't talk about it.
Oh yeah, tell us about
Yeah,
Ryouma's
Dish.
links.
Yeah, okay, let me see. Just scrolling back to episode 4's notes. Okay, so he talks about... So this is weird. When you actually, like, he doesn't want to talk, and he eventually will talk, but then he talks about he, like, went to the tennis club he was at in his high school, and how all the dudes in it were weird. And,
I don't think I ever went for Ryouma, and I don't know why.
I feel regretful now.
Yeah, he's so cool.
While Jim's looking that up, I really hope that there's, like, concept art out there for everyone's armament.
Oh,
Argument.
There's
Argument armament.
Oh my god, now I can finally show you guys the thing that I saw before we started recording this, which was, like, the concept art for Ryouma and, like, his original designs, which are really good. There's one where he's just, like...
Show it.
Like, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
yeah, so yeah, that's basically all that happens. Is like, he's very hesitant to do it, and then when you actually convince him to talk, he just says that, like, a bunch of these guys were just, you know, odd, and he names, like, a few of them, but, like, he doesn't really go into detail about why they were weird, just that, you know, they were sort of like, you know, they were aloof, and he sort of didn't care about them and tried to interact with them, but you know, they were just, like, they were too odd, and, like, he was too good. Although he does mention that, like, the captain of his tennis team was even better at him, and he talks about, like, I think that's where he got that maneuver he used on Ganta.
Yeah,
And he
it's
talks
all
about,
like, a
like, stuff
King of
like that.
Tennis reference, right? I don't know, I
Yeah,
never watched
mhm.
it.
Yeah, I didn't either, but it seems that way, just from what I've heard. And then, yeah, and that's pretty much it. And then he just talked, and then it's not like anything more in depth about, you know, I didn't spend a second time with him, so it was nothing more in depth about the thing. He just sort of just like, well, you know, I guess I shared some stuff with you, but I still don't care about life, and I have nothing to live for.
Anyway, I've linked in our Discord this really fucking good beta design of Ryouma Hoshi.
Beta 1 is probably my favorite, where he has
It's really good.
absolutely a, like, pencil face.
He's like a hot dog man.
and just a nose.
Yeah.
Yes, hot dog. That's perfect.
He's like a he's like he posts on a particular forum, and I'm not exactly sure which one it is. Man, wow, look at him. He's like a really handsome, like, anime face looking guy, like with the handsome guy eyes, and then like a hot dog body, and like it's very good. It's a great design, although his end design is also great. And it would have been really weird if this weird hot dog body man had nothing to live for.
Like, this character, like, I know we said Ryouma Hoshi looks like he's from a different game. This character would not have meshed very well with these other characters at all.
He looks like fan art, from what I can say. It's a very tiny picture. It's like it looks like my Danganronpa V3 OC, Do Not Steal kind of thing, where like
it's Kevin.
It's just
Kevin's got a really cool motive video,
Kevin.
guys.
This is a real Kevin-looking guy right here, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Kevin's the one that stops the killing game and sets everyone free.
Nice. All right. Anyway. Yeah. Let's talk about. So when Kurumi explains like more about also like not until everything is over do we really hear about like Ryouma and Maki talking and like everybody's interaction with the motive videos. Like it's like, oh my god, it's like already the very fucking end of the trial, and then we finally get to talking about these motive videos. So everything felt backwards.
I don't want to interrupt you, Devac, but if we're talking about the end of the trial, I've got to say that out of all the minigames that aren't really that good, I really love closing arguments. Like, I just
closing
think
arguments are good.
I think it's a great way to end the case.
comic
Like, you're
book.
winding down. Yeah, you're putting panels into a comic book. You're kind of winding down. The music's a little calm, and then at the end, you
Also,
get
the explanation that Shuichi does after you complete it.
Yeah,
with
you get
like all the backing music. It's terrific.
Yeah, it
It's
feels
just a
very
really
It
great
necessary.
way
completely
to end the
summarizes
case.
the whole case. If you're like, what happened in this case? Just look up like, oh fuck, what's it called again?
closing argument.
Look up,
Closing argument?
look up the closing argument for chapter 2, and that just explains the entire thing.
Don't do that. You'll
Yeah.
get spoiled on stuff.
I would not do
On
that.
what stuff?
Don't Google anything until you finish the game.
But yeah, that is
if
good.
you put anything into YouTube, you were just going to ruin your mentions, and somebody...
Don't even listen to this podcast. Oh.
Hey.
You are already spoiled. But yeah, I really think that's a great way to close up the cases.
Yeah, it makes sense.
so
and
good.
and make sure everybody's on the same page at the end, in case like there were still some parts of it that like for some reason you didn't get, even though they say everything 30 times.
Yeah, it's a really easy mini game, but it's just nice to do. You know, there's no stress or anything.
Yeah, and Danganronpa is not bad about if you do game over. Like, sometimes you have to repeat some things, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, have we ever mentioned what happens when you like lose the case or lose the trial?
If you fail one of the mini games, then it's just like Monokuma's like, time for voting, and Shuichi's like, oh no.
And then, yeah, you can, if you retry, you're typically sent not very far back. I will say I got burned at one point and had to redo a couple of non-stop debate things, but like, once you know what to do, you kind of know, you know?
Yeah, you don't get sent back very far at all.
It's never, yeah.
Yeah, as much as I like the mass trials or the constant debates, it is fairly linear. Like, you'll get to one section where you have to basically unlock the next talking point.
Let's get back on track here.
Yeah.
Let's
So
talk about
one of the more like the most heartbreaking thing about this is that Ryouma and Maki were talking, and at first Maki doesn't want to say it, and then she brings it up, blah blah blah, whatever, doesn't want to be suspicious. But she and Ryouma had each other's motive videos, and when Kokichi stole everyone's Monokid pads, when they were returned, he told Ryouma that Maki had his video. And so he went to go talk to her to see the video because, and we kind of heard this implicitly from Ryouma's interaction with Shuichi when Gonto was looking for everyone, that he was he was looking for a reason to live, and he wanted to see his video because he was hoping that it would give him a reason to live, that someone out there cared about him. And
I wanted to point out here that Maki did not look at Ryouma's video. When she got the pad, she may have been the only one that just didn't look at it at all. So she had no idea what was on the video.
Yeah, so when they all watch it together after the trial is over, it's just Monokuma in like a website under construction thing, and he's like, there's nobody who's important to you out there, so there's nothing in this video, so sorry. And so after that, he, gave up, and at least the way that Kurumi describes it is that he didn't like, he like talked to her, and she basically he turned his back on her, basically giving her the opportunity to attack him.
Yeah, it's at this point that they kind of reveal that Kurumi's motive video is that she's like, I won't go into it right now, but she's a very important person.
Wait.
No, let's
go into it.
Turn
Okay.
on tone.
Well, I wanted to draw the comparison here where they both knew what their motive videos was. Kurumi says to Ryouma, I'm a really important person, look at this video. And Ryouma says, well, I'm nobody, and nobody cares about me, nobody would even... Well, he doesn't say that, but he's internally thinking, this is what my life is. And he says, well, that's complete opposite from me. I'm just going to go clean these tennis balls up, okay? And he turns his back on her and just gives her the opportunity.
There's a lot in this trial I could criticize if I want. I really do like the whole Ryouma finding out his motive or lack thereof thing. That was pretty good, I thought. That whole thing.
Yeah, it was emotionally.
Yeah, and I like that.
Strong. Yeah.
I like that he sort of is like willing to be to basically be used to help out someone else.
Yeah, I like Ryouma as a tragic figure in this game for sure.
Yeah, tragic figure is probably the good way of
he
putting
is,
it.
because he kind of starts out as somebody that doesn't think he has any reason to live, and then during the course of the story he thinks he might have, or he's looking for a reason, and that's kind of a reason. And then it's given to him, and it's just a confirmation, no, you actually don't have any reason.
Brutal Danganronpa. Anywho, so now, and by the way, just going back to last week's discussion, that's why you don't show people each other's motive videos.
Yeah, so then that kind of changes the mood, because even like in the trial and the investigation, like Kaito I think goes back and forth and is like, maybe we should have all watched each other's motive videos. And so everybody's, and I think it's still like not totally certain by the end of it. This will probably continue to be a problem with everybody.
Right.
But yeah, so let's talk about Kurumi Tojo.
So Kurumi ended up actually with her own motive video. We end up finding out
by bad luck or
well,
good luck
because
or
the Cubs fucked up, and Monokuma doesn't know about it until they bring it up. It's like, why does everybody keep talking about the videos being switched?
That was like one of the funniest moments with the Bears. That was like the one where I was generally like, oh, that's amusing.
So they're doing a bad job. Like, they're doing things wrong.
Is that what
Sorry,
it's like
I
when you
love
think
how-
something's
I love
funny?
No, but like how little you think of Danganronpa's humor. Like, this is the funniest thing, and it happened. Like, that was sort of amusing.
Well, no, from the Bears. Like the rest,
I know.
I've actually laughed during Danganronpa. The Bears have never made me laugh. Not even like once.
Oh
Not
yeah,
even close.
this is the funniest
Oh,
thing.
wow.
The closest I got was, oh, that's amusing.
I gotcha. Okay. I did laugh out loud once at the Bears when Monofun was like, "Oh my God, Dad, you're a Oni now," or whatever. It's like, no, we're past that. I like that. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
but-
Joke's over, kid.
all right.
So Kurumi Tojo is the fucking Prime Minister of Japan.
Well, she's not actually Prime Minister. She's basically acting Prime Minister.
Shadow Prime Minister.
Yeah. So basically, she's this really great maid. Everyone, can complete every task that's given to her, and the Prime Minister of Japan's like, "Hey, I need your help," and basically, can you do my job for me? They make a pretty bad Trump joke here,
Yeah.
and hopefully that'll be the last one because, they say they need Kurumi to make this country
Make
great
this
again
country
or something like that.
Yeah.
And they always say
what
this
Oren said
country.
that
They don't say Japan or the United States. They just say this country.
I think Oren said that wasn't in the original, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
there.
a localization.
This came out before,
The American election.
Before Twitter got terrible.
No, that was all.
This
it was
came
all
out in
exact.
That was all
January.
the time.
I know.
This came out in January 2016 before that got serious, I guess.
Right. Well, certainly before, like, all those memes came out of it, like fake news and Make America Great and all that.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So that was why she had to kill someone, because it's like, I have to escape so I can take care of all the other people in the world, except for, you know, like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And everybody kind of agrees with her once they hear it. They're kind of like,
yeah, they're like, oh, I feel a little bad about killing you now.
Yeah, could one of us just take your place?
Didn't Gonta?
Yeah,
Gonta's like,
first.
can I be punished instead of you?
But of
And
course
then
they
Kokichi's, I love this. Kokichi's like, well, wait a minute. Don't you see what she's doing? She's just trying to make you guys feel bad, so one of you guys tries to go in her place because she's still trying to get out of here. And Kurumi just owns it. She's like, damn it, you let me talk and you knew I was going to do that.
And it's sort of implied, too, that there's a threat out there that she can't remember what the threat is.
Yeah.
Basically,
But there's something threatened.
The Prime Minister came to her, there's a great time of need in this country, or there's some kind of disaster or something, and I need the help of the ultimate super capable maid. And so she's got this, you know, kind of inkling that there's something really bad happening, and if she doesn't get out of the school to save people, everybody's gonna die. Like the entire
And
country.
the implication being, because they bring it up right away, is that the ultimate hunt is involved. And you wonder, like, wait a second, are the ultimates the threat? Like, is she being tasked with destroying her own?
But also, in the courtroom, there's a point, like a small point, I think, at some point, either at the beginning or the end, Monokuma says something like, you're all the only people left alive in the world.
Yeah.
So, is this already after the disaster happened? Is my question, like, is this whole disaster, like, is the whatever the disaster is, like, if he's saying you're the only people left alive in the world, like, what does that mean?
Or is he just lying? You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
He
Yeah.
goes on
Well,
this kind of
bears
little
never
Eye of
lie.
God spiel.
He said they all insist that bears never lie.
Unless that was a lie.
Whoa.
So here's let's outline the crime, okay? So Kurumi hits Ryouma when his back's turned. He kind of like lets that happen. She handcuffs him in the prisoner thing, drowns him in the sink because he's gonna fight back reflexively. Then I guess decides she needs to dispose of the body in a way that moves things around. So she takes his tennis net, takes his rope out of that, puts that out the window because outside his prisoner lab is the pool. Then she goes to where the magic show is going to be in the gym, which is the other side of the pool. And the only way to really access it are these two really high up windows. So she takes a rope, I think, right?
Yeah, 2 ropes.
Puts it through that window, ties the 2 ropes together at pool level, uses that to pull the rope across and to create what's called a ropeway, which is the system where she hangs the rope between the 2 windows, gets an inner tube, hangs that too, takes Ryouma's body, rides the inner tube with its own little rope on top of the rope into the gym. So that way, she can put Ryouma's body into the piranha tank with the aforementioned pane of glass to get rid of, so you wouldn't know, I guess, where Ryouma was murdered in order to help cover up the crime. What she
Also,
didn't
she
anticipate-
couldn't be in the gym to do this at nighttime, so she had to do it from the. She couldn't be in the gym, so she had to do it from the windowsill.
I thought she could be in the gym, like, because that's how she tied the ropes together.
Well,
She could be in the
she
water.
could be in
She
the
did
gym.
that beforehand.
Before
Yeah, she
night.
was
yeah,
in
she
the
prepped
gym.
it up before nighttime, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and tied the rope to the window as kind of a preparation, you know, left it hanging in the pool area.
Yeah.
But once the
When she made
facilities
the
are
curtain.
closed, you cannot go in them, and she actually asked the Monocubs permission. And
If she put one
yeah.
foot on the windowsill.
Yeah, if I put
And
one
they said,
foot in
"That's
the
okay."
windowsill, is that actually in the gym or not? And they're like, well, I guess that's not really in the gym, so go
And
ahead.
fucking Monosuke is like, well, when they asked before, and everybody gets mad at him because he kind of gives away that is exactly what the killer did.
Well, that's what I'm saying, too. This is, like, 2 times where the Monocubs actually fucked with the murderer in a way. So it's kind of like, I feel like there's a disqualification in order, but whatever.
Yeah, things are kind of falling apart on the bear side.
Kurumi's one problem here is that she didn't anticipate the ropeway method going so fast on the rope, so she actually holds onto the rope with her gloved hand to like slow down, which means a piece of fabric tears off her gloves somehow and lands in the pool where she can't get it.
We can't go into the
that's
water
wrong.
during nighttime.
Right.
That's right.
Yep,
That's
even
right.
touching the water will cause you to get torn apart by a giant robot. And an alarm goes off, too.
And they make a point of, like, she couldn't have gotten the fabric out because the water's so low. B is some, like, rope trick.
Yeah, basically, if it's in the pool, it's not coming back out. You can't fish it out.
So, yeah. This was a pretty convoluted method of covering your tracks, which I don't think they're that covered. I mean, they still tell you that Ryouma was drowned, which is just sort of odd in a way, because it's kind of like, I transferred it from drowning him into the sink to faking drowning him in this tank of water. Like, what? Huh? Wait, alright.
It feels like the bears kind of fucked this up. Like, they kind of screwed Kurumi over by, like, giving a lot of opportunities for us to figure this out that, like, maybe we wouldn't have otherwise.
Well, to be fair, right? Like, okay, yeah. Number one, you can't do this with the monophile. You know what I mean? Like, once time of death is even mentioned, everybody suspects it. That said, I mean, I think you could still reason out what happened from the fact that the tennis net is missing the rope, that the black fabric and the inner tube end up in the pool, and, like, the pane of glass from the piranha tank. Like, you could... to be totally fair, even without the monocubs fucking it up, I think it's still probably possible to logic this out. But that said, they certainly help things, you know?
Yeah. And like, it's weird that they... I mentioned this before. It's weird that they kept the time of death secret, because that actually made more people possible to be the murderer. Because it was done at night and not, you know...
So, like, this whole crime would make more sense to me if, like, let's just say hypothetically, Ryouma had killed someone with an iron tennis ball, knew that particular method would point to him immediately, needed some way to cover up the method of killing. That's why he has to get rid of the body, and he makes it look like it's part of the magic show to do it. This is just kind of obscuring the location of it, which I don't really know that would have given away Kurumi anyway.
And also, when you think about it, like, the monophile gives up a piece of evidence that couldn't have been found out after death. It's something that had to have been known before the actual destruction of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this isn't something that you could just, like, examine the body, be like, oh, like, once it's bones, there's no way of telling it's drowning. So it's giving up something that you know, Monokuma knows because he saw this happen.
Right. And that's, yeah, like, it's, I don't really get, like, yeah. I feel like this whole ropeway thing, like, didn't really help Kurumi as much as she thought it did. It, in fact, like, caught her out, really.
Yeah.
And, it makes more sense to me if it's to cover up method rather than location.
Yeah.
Or time, but even that didn't really.
Yeah, there's a lot of this that's just kind of meh. I felt like,
Yeah.
and, yeah, because there's I guess, like, the motivation is ultimately just kind of shallow. Especially if everyone else in the world is actually dead. Like, we don't even know, right? And, like, her video is like, oh, well, the people of the world need you. Like, okay, sure, whatever.
But that is, like, yeah. I mean, that is kind of, like, it seems like a trick Monokuma would pull. Of, like, yeah, the world needs you. Just kidding, everybody's over.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
But Kurumi's execution video, I felt like was a lot more symbolic of her whole thing, her whole situation, than
Threat of
Kaede's
agony, it's
was.
called.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It kind of plays against her. There's this compulsive need she has to, you know, always get the job done and never let anybody down. And in the execution, she's simply presented with this long strand that has thorns on it, and there's like a light at the top, so she starts climbing it. It's really painful. She's getting cuts and bruises everywhere, and I don't know exactly what's going on with these other people that come, but there's
Her
like this big
constituents are, like, yelling
Yeah.
at her.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know
like
what's going on.
protesters
They've got
and
these signs that say, like, notice to quit, and there's some other stuff in Japanese, and it could either be, like, you know, they're mad at her, and they're, like, telling her to, you know, quit her job, or it's like kind of like giving her the opportunity of, you don't have to do this, you can stop, you can quit, you don't have to be the ultimate maiden, you can just get down off the rope or whatever. But because of that compulsive need, she just keeps going. And then
I didn't read it that way at all. I read it that, like, because they tell her, like, run, like, get out of here before, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, and she runs for it, and then what I read it as, like, yeah, the constituents are coming after her, and she's trying to escape them by climbing that rope.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, I guess you could.
I mean, yeah.
So she's, yeah, and also, we didn't mention she kind of is overcome by this, like, feral need to escape, and, like, kind of, like, loses it running away from the punishment.
Right. They've got this really cool CG where it's, like, a close-up of her face, and she's just screaming, and it's all, like, deformed and stuff. It's really cool.
So it almost, like...
I have to say, this is probably my favorite execution so far.
Mm-hmm. Of the two?
Maybe even in Danganronpa in general.
Oh, wow.
I just like
sense.
that it really evokes...
Yeah.
It sort of evokes the despair that Monokuma is really going for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Like, I really like that this one makes a little more sense in context, because she climbs up the rope and she's getting, like, battered by saws and she's bleeding out everywhere. And she gets to the top and she thinks that she sees a light, but it's just, like, a picture pasted to the, like, ceiling. Like a really bad crayon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes sense. If she's, like, delirious and bleeding out, she would think that it's a light. But then she touches it and it's just, like, a picture that she falls back down.
It's a crown drawing, too. I will say the one thing that I really didn't like about this execution was, like, that she gets, like, battle damage and is basically in her underwear again by the time she's...
Yeah.
She falls
I
out.
thought it was so strange because she is in her underwear, but she doesn't land on the ground in a sexualized pose. So I'm, like, in the middle on this.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't sexual, but it's still, like... I mean, the saws didn't have to cut every,
it's
just
still
her
like
skirt
black
off.
lacy underwear. Like, I don't know.
She's a maid.
Also, like, we didn't talk about Mew and her underwear scene either, but, like, are they wearing the same underwear? That was, like, my thought. I'm, like, looking at this dead body, like, did they just give all of them the same underwear?
I don't know.
There's an underwear scene with Mew?
Yeah, don't you remember? She used
When
it
she talks
with
about
Gonta?
why Gonta didn't capture her.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't remember there being CG with it.
How could you forget? It's so funny because
I
she's
didn't
like,
even see it.
she's like, I show boys my panties all the time, and then in the CG itself, she's like really embarrassed to be in her underwear.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Let me just take a look at my screenshots.
It's a really cute one too, because like she's all embarrassed and Gonta's like covering his eyes.
I think you probably put that one in a different folder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Kurumi, as she falls to the ground and dies, and Monodam pushes Monosuke in underneath her so that she falls on him and kills him, and another Mono kid is fucking dead.
Mm-hmm. I really like that when Monosuke gets pushed down, he like loses his glasses and does the whole like Velma like looking around for him, can't find him.
Yeah.
So anywho, no, that always makes me laugh.
Always, yes. The consent screen always is funny.
Yes.
Especially with the big smiles.
So,
enthusiastic consent is important, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Monosuke gets killed. So Monodam is like taken over or whatever. He's like he's killing off the other Mono kids, the ones that don't want to get along. Because Monophony and Monotaro both are like being nice back to him, but Monosuke was still like, no, I'm not going to be nice back to you.
Yeah, you killed Monokid. You guys should hate his guts. And Monophony's like, well, Monokid was kind of a dumbass anyway.
Yeah. We didn't like him anyway. And Monosuke also screwed up. He was the one sort of that the whole screw up was centralized on for like giving away the thing about the windowsill. So yeah. So I don't know if Monodam gonna keep killing gonna keep killing the other mono kids? It seems like the other two are on his side, though, so I don't know if he would have reason to kill them.
I don't know. Like, maybe either one of two things. Either, like, during the story, like, one of the other kids just turns against him for some reason, or maybe it's just some really innocuous thing where, oh, I don't like honey. Well, if we were getting along, you would eat the honey.
Yeah, who knows what'll happen. Maybe Monodem will slowly turn into more and more of a tyrant. But yeah, so that's still happening. There are getting to be fewer and fewer Monocub kids. And hey, we said we didn't like them anyway, so...
I also...
Who's your favorite?
Little...
Who's your favorite Monocub?
Monophony. Easy. You know why? I don't know. It's like I usually hate this kind of humor, but whenever she throws up, she does.
Blah, 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 blah.
I don't know why, but that sound effect makes me laugh every fucking time.
It's true. That's very good.
My favorite's Monodam because he keeps killing the other stupid bears.
Yeah, I'm torn between the two of them. Yeah.
I kind of
Probably
like
Monodam.
Monotora because he's like a little superhero or something.
He's so enthusiastic.
Like, he wants to be the leader, but he isn't.
Yes. So then we go back to the... Oh, also, then after Kirby is executed, and we go back to the courtroom, everybody
Yeah,
kind
the
of
big
says their
twist.
closing statements and everything. And this was when I noticed that while everyone was talking, and they're still in the courtroom, I could move the right stick around and make Shuichi say stuff. You can make him respond.
Yeah, that's the whole game.
I don't know what the point of that is.
I don't either. I've not figured that out for the life
It's
of me.
almost like if I was like streaming the game without a mic and I like wanted to roleplay as Shuichi, that's what I would do. I don't know, but you can like give like a yes or no, positive, negative type utterance using the right stick.
Oh, it just plays a little voice clip.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I don't know. I thought about it because after Kaede dies, Kaito yells at Shuichi for not saying anything back to Monokuma. So then once I figured out that I could do that, I just kept spamming it to be like, see, I'm saying something now, Kaito. Anyway, so then it all lets out, and while they're still in the Shrine of Judgment, Kokichi calls out Maki, and he's like, I have something I need to say.
Like, you guys hate me for being a pathological liar. Well, there's another huge liar right here in our group, and I know who they are. And it turns out that just like how Ryouma was two ultimates, the ultimate tennis player and the ultimate prisoner, Maki is not actually the ultimate babysitter. She's the ultimate assassin.
Which makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he starts to speak, she like immediately is on him and holds him by the throat. But he's like, are you going to kill me here in front of everyone? Because then everyone will know how you killed me, and then you'll die. And so she doesn't. But now she has been outed
that's
as
not
the ultimate
really
assassin.
That's not really your style. You like to kill from the shadows, don't you?
So she's been covering her assassin talent this whole time, which makes sense because it seems like everybody would be suspicious of the ultimate assassin, like right off the bat, every time anyone died or anything. Although it's also like, I mean, Kurumi was basically an assassin too, so I don't know. Kurumi was the Hitman game that we all want to play.
You know, it's funny. I do have to give like V3 a little credit here too, because like I feel like Maki's artwork, as silly as it sounds, like it just is totally wrong for a child caregiver. And then once you find out she's an assassin, you're like, there it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's drawn like perfectly like that, but not enough that you would give it away.
Yeah, because of her schoolgirl uniform, I think, is the main thing, where it's like, okay, maybe she's just a goth babysitter.
Right. But
I like that Maki gets a little bit of character development in this chapter too.
Yeah,
Because
finally.
up to this point, she's been very almost non-existent in any class conversation.
But she's had
She
to
doesn't wanna
cover so that nobody
participate.
goes in her lab and finds out that she's an assassin.
Although, wouldn't it be cool if it was both? Like, Ryouma is both the ultimate tennis player and ultimate prisoner, and then she's got like a dual childcare and assassin, like some
She
like
will
crappy
really
like
protect
80s
your
comedy.
kid. It is like a Resident Evil 4 situation. Whatever happens to your kid, she will go and she will fucking kill everybody to get them back.
Like she can dual wield a baby bottle and like an AK-47.
Yeah, that's a game I want to play also.
No, you don't trust me. I'm playing half that game. It's not good.
No, now that I've compared it to Resident Evil 4, I don't probably actually want to play that. just Mikey, help! No, wait in this dumpster while I kill all these men.
Yeah. Well, that's the way you have to do it. Anywho. I keep saying that today. I gotta knock that off.
So that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
What do you guys think overall? Was this a good case?
I liked the chapter. I didn't love the murder. I feel like, I liked everything that happened with Ryouma. I felt like, I think I mentioned this before the podcast, not during, but like, so when you had to pick the murderer, Kurumi was like my fourth choice. You know? It makes more sense to me as Angie. I get why it's like a red herring. It just like, it's like, yeah, I don't know, Maki? I don't know. Okay, I guess it was Kurumi. You know, it's her time to go. I don't know.
It wasn't very dramatic.
It wasn't terrible. Nah, it wasn't terrible. Everything with Ryouma, though, I liked.
Yeah, I really like
It was
that.
a great chapter for Ryouma.
That they're taking these characters that are pretty underdeveloped and they're making them into more developed characters. I really like the Ryouma arc.
But Kurumi did not have a great arc. It was just kind of, you're the ultimate maid, and at the very end, her facade kind of shattered a little bit, kind of, although it's not clear. If it ever did, or if that's just all there was to her.
Well, what do you mean?
Like, when she finally, like, lost her mind running away, like, was that
Right.
her desire to protect people and, like, fulfill her duty, or was that her own self-preservation instinct?
Yeah.
Because
Because she kind of hints at it too, that like she's saving her, that maybe she's actually just saving herself for herself.
I don't know. It's not. It's like meh. The whole, and like the character interactions, I think in this game as a whole are interesting, and the part that I enjoy the most, the story of how this murder took place and like unraveling it and everything. It was all right. It wasn't great. It wasn't like a great. It wasn't a great story. It was okay.
Yeah. Like this one could have been, I think that had the elements to be like a good murder, like just acting like, I think the initial setup of just getting the body into the piranha tank and you know, that kind of stuff, while relatively simplistic, was also like that felt fine. I think if you just made it a little bit simpler, that might have worked better. I think it gets way too convoluted when you involve like the ropeway and that stuff. I think it just went a little bit too far.
I think there's also not enough of like the petty shit that Kokichi wanted, where like people being like, oh well, it must have been this person because like this person would want to frame Himiko, like that kind of thing. Like that kind of discussion doesn't happen, or like those kind of accusations don't happen, and so it becomes kind of dry.
Yeah, like it kind of, the motives are like, it's basically two people coming to an understanding where it's like, okay, I'm more important than you and you have no reason to live. So it's basically like an agreed to killing, which kind of takes a little bit of the pathos out of it, I think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I kind of hear you on that, but like, I don't know. I mean, I do kind of like Ryouma sort of just like, all right, that's it for me. Like whatever. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say I enjoyed it, but you know what I mean. I thought that was cool. I'm misphrasing this constantly, but you know what I mean. I thought it was well done.
But that's a good like link there. It's like, oh, we're taking advantage of this already established fact that Ryouma doesn't want to live.
Yeah.
But like, there's no like, oh, and it also ties in with why they would want to frame Himiko, or it also ties in with why they would want to do, you know, like why they would want to frame, like make it look like it was somebody else. Like nobody was interested in like trying to make it look like it was Kokichi because he like had that unaccounted for time. And he was like, oh, like Kurumi came and like was my mom to me for an hour. Like that doesn't seem to hold its water, but okay. She like never verifies that. She's it's just kind of like there's more. I feel like there's more interpersonal ties that could have played into the decisions that were made. Like that would have really made it better. It's like, oh, she did this specifically because of this thing that this other person did, like to specifically take advantage of them. Because I think that's why it makes her choice of Ryouma so compelling.
I totally agree with you. I think even one thing that might have been, if there was some kind of way to have hinted at Kurumi's motive somehow, where if that link was kind of established, because that just felt like it was completely out of left field, you know?
Yeah, and I'm sure that we're going to hear from someone who already played the game that if you go back and play it again, then all the hints are all there. But I don't think that is a good reason. I don't think that excuses it. Like because you have the dramatic build and then the payoff of like the foreshadowing that you did. And if it's really subtle foreshadowing, like it's okay that it's there, but like you don't get that feeling of payoff.
Yeah, especially when we're so distinctly divided into chapters here. You know, there has to be some kind of self-contained cohesion. I
don't mind it for Kaede so much because, well, I mean, again, I was kind of prepped. I knew it was coming, but like, I kind of like that notion of they're doing this big like twist on you, but if you go back and look, it's actually like pretty well tightened
like,
up.
Kaeda's thing was like a big sleight of hand kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's good for the replay value of it, because this is definitely like probably a game that you're going to want to replay sections to talk to different people and replay the trial. But it's still missing that dramatic payoff of like, oh, I noticed this little thing earlier, and like here's the payoff. Versus like, you know, when you go around and you're doing the investigation and you kind of like piece the whole thing together during the investigation. You know, that has the payoff of like, yeah, I was right. She did slide across that rope between those two windows.
I'm getting what you're saying now. Like in this point, or in this case, they just kind of dump it all at the end, where it would have been really cool to have some kind of hint of who could have done it.
Yeah, or like, what's Kurumi's, like, you know, to have, like, oh, is Kurumi actually, like, super, like, big deal, or, like, something like that? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Something where you could have had more of an inkling before, where it kind of has that satisfying payoff. And I think that's a problem that this game has kind of shown so far with some of the twists, is that it is sometimes difficult. It doesn't have that satisfying payoff. Just like, oh, and this is what happened.
Right. Like the only person you can really suspect in this case is Angie, and any other person, there's no like clues or anything. So it's just like, it might be Angie, but if not, I'll just guess this character.
And the group doesn't suspect Angie at all, ever.
No, like I've got in my head this scene where Angie immediately turns on Himiko because maybe she actually rigged the trick to try and kill her, but she didn't do it right. So Himiko does the trick correctly, but then somebody else dies. So I don't know.
Yeah.
You have that's a good sort of thing if like there's a lot of fucked up ways to do this where like Angie plans this out to do this, but fucks it up, and Himiko accidentally does it anyway, which means she didn't intend to do the murder.
And that's really what I had kind of been anticipating, like right when the body was discovered, because then it becomes a question of like who is truly to blame for this.
Yeah.
And then that becomes very interesting, because it's like, well, who is? And I don't know if that's like too complex for this game.
Right.
That would be interesting.
You have, like,
Yeah, it's like,
or, like,
what if
the notion of like,
yeah, what if Angie messed up the trick so that Himiko took more time to do it, and for some reason that caused somebody else to die, which technically it would be Himiko's fault, but she didn't really. I mean, is it a murder if there's no intent? I don't know.
Just the same, like if somebody had instructed, or like if somebody hires Maki, the ultimate assassin, to kill someone, then that kind of thing, right? Or like if someone had told Kirumi to kill someone and she did because she's the ultimate maid, whose fault would it be?
But I thought somewhere, maybe I'm thinking of a different one, but like I thought somewhere it was established like whoever does it is the killer.
I think triggering a sequence in which someone unintentionally kills someone makes you the murderer, the triggerer, not the person who actually does it. As long as the person isn't, taking taking risks with someone else's life, they literally can't do anything to prevent it. I don't think you're a murderer.
But then, I mean, even if it was like taken very literally, then that also adds this element of drama to the game where like Monokuma shows up and is like, nope, even though we know this person told this person to do it, it's that person's still the murderer, and so they're gonna get killed. And then the person who told them to do it is still alive and with everyone, and they have to, they can't kill them, just like in broad daylight, right? So it becomes, more complex. So that's the kind of complexity, I guess, that I'm looking for. The more, like, emotionally intense complexity. And Kirumi being like, oh, I have to go serve my people. It was like, okay.
Well, I have some good news. I think the next chapter is my favorite one so far.
Ooh.
So I hope I'm not overselling it, but, like, I do like it. I do think it's really good. If you want to know what to read for next time, I'm not saying we have to stop talking, but I was just like, it just seemed like a good segue.
Yeah.
This time I think I was going to try something different. If you want to just go all the way to the trial, because this is...
Through the trial, or till the start of the trial?
Till the start of the trial.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Just because this is gonna be a long series. Because, I mean, I'm looking at, like, time played, and I think it is going to end up being closer to that 40 hours.
Also, the other day, we should talk about the casino games.
Yes.
Because I'm upset, because I was assured that the algorithms are in your favor, and it's real easy to, like, earn money. And I played for, like, an hour and a half, and I got, like, 5,000 coins. And that's not even 10,000, which is how much I need to buy a love key. And I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking sit here for another hour and a half pressing Y over and over again until the money comes out.
Did you lose at the slot machines?
I know I won, right? Because I went from like 100 to 5,000, but it took so long. It took so long.
But aren't they exciting? Don't you get excited?
Not after an hour and a half.
How long did it take you, Paula, to get up to 10,000?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say that I like to record my footage to review it, and there was a certain point during my recording where it's like, yeah, I've got to shut this off because I'm going to be here for, like, a while. So, yeah, I've got that kind of personality. I personally love the casino. Like, I would play the slot machines for a while. So, yeah.
Maybe now that we have new games, like, the stakes will go up, so it'll be a little easier to get money faster. I really want to play the car game, just like on its own.
Well, when you go into the casino, they give you like, I don't know how many digits, like 10 or something. There has to be, like, they don't expect you to fill that up this slow way.
They might. That's kind of an old joke, though.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Like, well, it's funny because I actually randomly played some Japanese game that was trying to be wacky for PlayStation the other day. And they do that thing where they give you, like, 12 digits, but, like, you get 1 point. And apparently, like, the same company made another game called WTF for PSP, which stands for Work Time Fun. But they do that same joke. Like, it's like, yeah, you can get 100 billion. 3, 4, 5, you know, that kind of thing. So
it took a really long time, and I was like, oh my god, how am I? Because I'm already going to play this game for, like, 3 hours to do the reading. And I'm like, I don't have another 3 hours to just play this casino game.
Yeah, I can see where that would be. It's kind of like a grind. Like, at the beginning at least, it's kind of them saying, yeah, you can get this stuff in the premium shop, which a lot of it, I think, is just stuff that comes out of the mono machine anyway. But if you want the special love keys, which are like 10,000 coins, you've got to sit there and play one of the games.
But I did used my coins to buy a theme for my monopad, and I bought the Exisol one. That's like a rainbow splatter looking one, and it's good, and I like it a lot.
Oh, I have something to warn you about for Chapter 3 that happened to me. Free time has an element to it where it just doesn't work.
Sometimes.
Right. I don't know why this is, but I went to somebody, I gave them the present that they loved. They said, "Oh, thank you." The end. Apparently there's just sometimes you cannot talk to a person. There is like kind of a plot event going on, which I think Oren or someone brought up to me and was like, maybe that's why, and I'm like, oh, maybe, but it didn't seem like obvious enough that I would say like, oh, for sure, that's it. So, again, just to reiterate, because I didn't actually, save before each free time thing, just so that way you can try again,
Yeah, you don't want to throw away a free time.
Yeah, if that happens, then you have to just pick a different character, by the way.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, that was like a very
Oh,
annoying.
how have your favorite or least favorite characters shifted over this reading? Like, did anyone gain or lose favor with you?
Still a Miyu fan. I did screenshot her in her underwear. Thank you for reminding me. I mean, I'm doing a podcast.
The people need to see.
Right, exactly. No, I still like her. I think she's funny. I like Yukichi more and more. Basically, as this game goes on in general. I didn't care for him at first, but he's really grown on me.
He's an annoying little fucker, and I love him. He's just, God, he's great. You could tell from the beginning that he was going to be like this, and it's great, and I love it. But I also love Kaito.
I was about to say.
Yeah,
Kaito's
Kaito's
really
grown
good.
on me, definitely.
He's
I
such a
can't really
good
tell,
friend.
Yeah. I can't really tell where Kokichi is. If he's like a good guy or a bad guy. Or
Exactly.
like a neither guy.
He's a jerk.
I don't know.
He is neither good nor bad. He is merely a jerk.
He is so great when he rips on Mew.
It's so out of left field and so savage.
It really is.
I don't know where that came from, but yeah, it was a lot. Whenever Kokichi like really rips somebody, it is usually pretty funny.
Gonta's cool. Tenko still sucks. And
God, she's so one note. Ugh.
Don't really care for Himiko either.
I feel like
I'm okay with her.
I lost interest in Himiko. She's so petulant. It's just annoying. And then Tenko likes her so much, and it's like, oh my god, like who cares? And they're still setting up this war between Tenko and Angie over Himiko's like psyche. And I really thought that was going to be over. That's why I was like, if Angie's the murderer, then this will finally be over, and these characters will not have this constant like focus of attention. But no, it's not over.
And you gotta think Angie would eat her lunch.
I don't. It's just it's a fight between three characters that don't have a huge amount of depth to them, and I don't really care.
It's like a love triangle, but there's no like third side. It's like a love V.
It's a love triangle, but who gives a fuck?
It's a love triangle for Tenko, and it's a friendship triangle for everyone else.
Alright, I mean, yeah. I'm just saying, it's like, well, who's Himiko gonna side with? Like, I
I
don't
don't
care.
care, yeah.
Like, what if, I hope Angie, just because, like, whatever. It's like,
Doesn't Tenko say something
like
too
Tenko.
that's like, I don't know, they like at some point they were like, oh, because you like her, because you're like romantically interested in her, and she's like, no, like almost as if she's trying to be like, no, I'm straight. Like, okay, Tenko, that's what we're doing.
It's just like, yeah, it's, I don't know. There's like little things that come in here and there, and just,
I'm not really.
Whatever.
I'm not expecting the huge Tenko redemption arc where it's
No.
like really emotional and yeah, she's.
We've
I'm
never,
pretty sure
we
she's
still
gonna
don't
be
know what
one note
Neo
the entire
Keto
time.
is. All of a sudden, we still don't know what her, we still don't know what her fighting thing is. If it's real, could be another character that's lying about their ultimate talent.
Yeah, she's just really the ultimate stalker.
No, she would be much more effective then. Himiko
yeah.
wouldn't have converted to the Atua religion if she was the ultimate stalker.
Yeah, she's a shitty stalker.
But yeah, those characters not super interesting. I still want to know more about Kyo. I feel like they dropped some hints about him last chapter, and I really want to know what his deal is more. And I hope it's not super problematic.
I hope that he is a robot. Like, I have a feeling that he's not really. But it would be great if he was a robot and he got to do cool robot stuff.
It would be cool if anyone was a robot other than Kibo.
It would be cool if someone else was a robot and Kibo actually wasn't a robot.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
But you know what? Did we talk about the fact that to open the tank with the piranhas, they just fucking throw Kibo?
Everyone's
Yeah.
so mean to Kibo.
Like, Kokichi makes some kind of comment to him during the class trial, like some kind of robophobic thing.
Please
And
never say
Kibo's-
that word. Can we just never say that word, please, for my own, write that word on my grave.
Well, what should we call it then?
Just say they're bullying him. 'Cause
Okay,
they
well,
are.
fine. He's getting bullied, and Kibo's like, I've noted your comment.
Is he
the
getting
authorities-
robo-bullied?
Yeah, I've noted your comment. The authorities have been contacted, or I'm going to contact the authorities or something.
I really want to see more depth to Kibo. I want to see one more dimension to his whole situation versus just other than just being extremely bullyable.
Having a tape recorder in his head.
And having a yak back in his head.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think it's pretty much confirmed he's a robot for real. Like,
Oh yeah, I was just joking.
there's no way that it's No. I meant like because we were theorizing that like a while ago. Maybe
Is he an android or is he a cyborg? Like, was he a person before,
Okay, fair.
or has he always been a robot?
I mean, I guess I guess you could be right there. I was thinking that it kind of sunk our theory. Huh?
What has happened that proves that he's a robot or an android beyond the shadow of a doubt? I'm
No, that's what I'm saying. Well, for me, it's like if you have a tape recorder in your head.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
is it really in his head, or does he just have like fancy headphones or something?
I don't know. My point was just that like he has mechanical things going on, and he is thrown into a
He's
tank
heavy.
of water
Yeah.
to shatter the glass. He's not
yeah.
strong, but I mean, he could still be a cyborg, sure, or something where he is a human that has been augmented or what have you. I don't know. My point is simply that it's starting to sink the theory that the ultimate talents are all mixed up.
Yeah, but people could still be lying about their talents. I think there's a lot of folks
sure,
that
and-
might be lying.
Yeah. Maki was, Kokichi for Chochichi must be, I think.
Yeah, or there's
But-
something else to it. Yeah. It's weird, because, like, and then, like, Himiko being like, I'm a mage, not a magician. Tenko being like, I'm good at Neo Aikido, and then we never see it. Like, there's so many things that are like, why did you guys get picked?
And how could they end the world? Like, why would people even want to hunt these, like,
These
jerks?
fuck-ups, yeah, like, what?
I know, it's like-
They had a 17-person like Voltron thing that they turned into.
Are they like, have they already done this with so many ultimates that like these are the remaining ones and there's like...
Oh yeah, these are like the really like the discount ultimates. Like they got rid of all the like ultimate agriculture, ultimate like scientist, and now they're down to like ultimate like Beanie Baby collector or something.
Yeah.
God help us if she gets into concert.
We also
That
haven't...
piano's gonna fuck up the world.
We also haven't seen a lot from Tsumugi, and it would be nice to see some more from her and her deal.
Mm-hmm.
She just keeps emphasizing how plain she is, as if if she says it enough times, it will somehow become true. But she's
Well,
not.
actually, I have an amendment to my theory from before. Because she said something along the lines of, if anybody sees my true form, they pay a terrible price. And this could be a reference to something, or it could be, before my theory was, well, what if she just made somebody up and then disguised as them? So what if she's just cosplaying as a person that she made up? Is that still a fictional character? I'd say so.
That would be a fictional character, yes. Yep. I would agree.
So she's not disguised as anybody, but she's cosplaying as somebody that she just made up.
And I still
Which is
want to
her,
see if
but nicer.
Still want to see if Korikyo's sister is a split personality. That is my guess, or specifically like a ghost that he talks to, or is possessing him.
Well, you know.
But considering
His village story was weird too.
considering how magic doesn't exist, maybe ghosts don't either, and it's also an act. We don't know.
We might find out, because you know what Chapter 3's title is, don't you?
It is transfer student from beyond the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of spooky Halloween kind of stuff. Oh, this is gonna go up way after.
Oh, Merry
Forget
Christmas,
it.
everyone.
A lot of spooky Thanksgiving
Happy
stuff.
Thanksgiving. And yeah, when December, then it's like next chapter have a lot of turkey kids. Ah, keep missing it.
Ugh. Yeah. So what's that all about? Are we gonna get a new character? That's what I'm. But that seems wild. Like, hey,
Are we gonna
sorry,
get
we
an old
found
character
another
back?
one.
They're gonna dig Rantaro up and just weekend at Bernie's him around.
We reincarnated Rantaro, and he has his memories back now, so it's like he's a different person. That's why we called him a transfer student.
It's Kaida back, and then he actually play as Kaida again. Nope, she
Yeah.
was the protagonist
Sorry,
all
look,
along.
we gave you a chance. I know you didn't like Shuichi, so hey, I'm back.
This is less of a plot thing, though, and more like people, we couldn't decide on things.
The votes are in.
Kaede comes back
The
and speaks
producer's like
directly to the players, like, look, I know, just work with me, okay?
Of course, she's the opposite of Monokuma, you know. So she also has her sides to the players while fighting for good. All right. So next time, read until the beginning of the trial.
Yes.
It should give you a nice save opportunity, so nice and clean.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And look for those hidden bears.
Still haven't found any hidden bears. I'm so bad at it.
You haven't found any?
Yeah, I mean,
I found one,
Oh.
and then I never found any more ever. And I was like, fuck it, I'm fast traveling everywhere. I give up.
I found 3. Still didn't find any in this last playthrough, but I guess there wasn't a lot of free space to look around in.
Someday I'll find another bear.
we already have the title. I'm sorry. All right. Take easy, everybody.